Hello and welcome to the channel. Today, after shooting on the weekend, I'm a little bit late in cleaning it. It's now Monday. I'm going to clean my Section 1 shotgun. It's a Section 1 shotgun which I use for practical shooting. The reason it's Section 1 is because it takes more, it has a higher magazine capacity, I should say, than most other shotguns, as in shotguns that you can have on a shotgun certificate, where you are restricted to a magazine capacity of 2. However, this is classed as a Section 1 firearm, so that's why it's a multi-shot shotgun. So the model of it is a Calibre Innovations Double R. It's one of the first ones that they did, and it's inertia operated. So I'm going to strip it down and we're going to clean it. The actual gun itself originates, it's a Turkish design shotgun, and it's a clone of a Benelli M2. It works really well and I've had no problems with it. Well, apart from yesterday, it was a little bit fussy with some ammunition. I used some Eley ammunition and it didn't like it at all. As soon as I changed ammunition, it worked flawlessly. So I just don't think the cartridges were powerful enough to cycle it, no matter what we did. Anyway, I'm going to strip it down. It's quite easy. So first of all, take the barrel clamp off. 2 screws, and this holds the magazine tube to the barrel. Go. Okay, that's that taken off. As always, safety first. We know the gun is clear. We've checked, there's no shells in the magazine. It's also got a safety flag in it. So I know this gun is definitely not loaded, and it was cleared on the range anyway yesterday, but it's been checked and double checked, so always safety first. Remove the breech flag, and now what we'll do is unscrew the magazine tube. You have to be careful when you do this. As you'll see, there's a long spring that you pull out. That usually doesn't get very dirty, so I'm not too bothered about that. And the tube is quite clean, you'll just get a wipe over on the outside. But I'll strip the whole gun. So we'll remove the barrel, which stays intact with the fore end. Hold it up to the light, so I can see it's got a bit of plastic fouling in there. So we'll give that a good clean shortly. And then I'll take the rest of it apart. So, as you'll see here, I'll move that, and then we simply just pull the pin out. So out comes the pin. So the pin just pops out. You pull it, out it pops. There is the pin. Has been pre-greased last time I did it, so makes things a bit easier. And then simply the bolt just pops out, and there you'll see that's how the inertia system works. There's a spring in the stock here that pushes against it, and it has a rotating bolt, so it locks quite similar to an AK-47 in the fact that it's a rotating bolt. It's a little bit black, but we'll give that a good clean in a minute. And then I can pop out the trigger mechanism. Again, that's quite simple. Grab yourself something, just a drift really, to drift it out. Just push. He says. The other way. So yeah, pop out the pin, which is removed, and then you simply lift out the trigger mechanism, and there is the trigger mechanism. That doesn't really get very dirty, but I find taking that out just helps you give the inside of the gun a wipe. As you can see now, it's completely stripped. I won't bother taking this apart, but one thing you have to remember when you do take these apart is it has to go back in the cocked position, or it gives you a bit of trouble when you reassemble them. So the way I like to clean shotguns, that's very dirty. I'll always start with the barrel itself. So put this down, that's in a safe place. Put that next to it so it's out of the way. And then I'll spray some Legia spray by Browning. It's very good. It's a cleaner. You can use it on metal, wood and plastics. And I find it is quite an effective cleaner as well as a lubricant. I can separate the forend as well, as you'll see. What I mean by inertia operated, there is no gas system on this gun. A lot of guns which are gas operated will have two ports here, and gas from the fired cartridge expels via the gas ports, and then will usually be used to push a piston backwards. That assists with the gun firing. This again is totally different. It just relies on the force from the cartridge being fired, which unlocks the rotational bolt and cycles the gun. The next cartridge is then lifted and goes into the chamber, obviously very, very quickly. Well, I've got hold of this, I'll give it a wipe. Just get the dirt off it. Just a quick wipe for now. That's it, that's fine. Okay. Right, so back to what I was saying with the Legia spray. Spray some down the barrel. I'll just start by getting the worst of the powder fouling out of the barrel. So I'll just use some kitchen roll, plop that down, use the rod and push it through, and out it goes, onto the floor. We'll pick it up later. We'll look down it and we will try and get the worst of the plastic fouling from the barrel. That's a phosphorus bronze brush. So I'll wet the brush in the Legia spray. Maybe a bit more down the barrel. And then we will clean. Concentrating more really on the forcing cones. That's this area here. Because that's where most of the plastic fouling builds up. But we will go right the way through with the phosphorus bronze brush as well. It does take a little bit to do this. Bit of exercise after shooting usually. Although you do get plenty of exercise in practical shooting, because it does involve a bit of running sometimes. So do that a fair few times and then we'll have a look. Again, I'll just get some paper and we will push it through the barrel using my plastic jag. Some people do choose to wear gloves to do this because you can get a bit oily, but I don't think a bit of oil's ever killed anybody really. But today's day and age with health and safety the way it is, you may want to wear gloves. So again, just wrap some tissue up. And push it into the barrel and then force it through. Perhaps a bit too much tissue, so we'll go back the other way. There we go. Force too much through, it won't go through. So push this through. See how black it comes out? That's a lot of fouling. Now I'll look down the barrel. You still see some plastic foul in there. It's not too bad, but as we've took it apart, I will try and get rid of it. Okay. So then, get the phosphorus bronze brush again. Spray it with some Leisure spray so it's nice and wet. Carry on. Most of the plastic fouling again is in this area where the forcing cone is. Notice that is a cone shape. Okay, same thing again, put some tissue, wrap it up, push it out of the barrel. See how black and dirty these are coming out. Quite like this Leisure spray, it is good stuff. And you can use it for everything, as I say. It won't harm the wood of any guns, not that there is wood on this, it's plastic. But you'll find with some powerful solvents, that if you spill any on the wood of your firearms or shotguns, it will tarnish or won't do the wood any good. But this is claimed to be, it won't harm anything, so that's why I use it. Right, have another look at the barrel. That is much better, and I'm happy with that now really. There's a slight bit of plastic fouling, but the main contaminants being the powder residue, which is corrosive, has now gone. So I'll just doubly make sure with some dry paper and see what colour it comes out. I usually carry on until they come out as clean as they went in. You'll see it's getting cleaner and cleaner now each time. Don't put too much in, or it won't go through the barrel. There we go, went out nice and clean, so I'm happy with that barrel. Now all I'll do is just some nice fresh paper. Spray some Leisure spray. Wipe the outside of all the metal parts, so that's getting any powder burns that make, powder residue that might be on the outside of the barrel, and also protecting it against any corrosion for next time. And while it's in the safe, it was raining yesterday, that's why I've gone to the degree of stripping the gun down completely. I probably wouldn't strip the gun down completely, taking the trigger mechanism and everything out on a normal day if it was a nice sunny day, but it was raining all day yesterday. So that's a barrel finished with. I'll just put that out of the way. Now I'll go back to the bolt. Again, I'm not going to go mad with oil. I'm just going to wet the tissue with some more Leisure spray, give it a wipe. That's going to get rid of any grit from the bolt itself. As you'll see, give it a wipe, including the bolt face, checking the extractor that there's no grit or anything in there. Checking the firing pins moving freely, which it is. No grit or anything that's got in there. And then just giving it all a wipe with some oil. Now to the main part of the gun, the inside. I'll again just give it a wipe out really, make sure there's nothing in there, any dust, any debris that could cause the gun to malfunction or even cause more wear on any of the bolt faces, such as sand or anything like that really. Where we were shooting yesterday, it does get a bit dusty, but again it was raining, so we wouldn't be too worried about dust, but as it's stripped, why not? Look after your investments. So I'm happy with the inside, that is nice and clean, that is fine. And I'll put that to one side. Now, the magazine tube. This, as you'll see, does get a bit tarnished from where the gun's been firing. It has discoloured that, but I do think it gives it some character as well, so we're not really bothered about that at all. I did wipe it briefly yesterday after shooting, but it was only a quick wipe on the outside with some, I think it was a medical wipe or something like that, something similar, household wipe, just to get the worst of it off. So we'll spray some Legion spray on it. Again, I'm not going to go mad with it. Just give it a little wipe, see if I can get the rest of that powder burning off. I don't think I will get it all off though, to be honest. But again, I'm not worried. I do think it gives the gun some character. So main thing is just to protect it from corrosion, because we don't want no rust. See, there's a bit of a scratch there, but again, it's a practical shotgun, and in practical shotgun competitions you sometimes have to put your gun down on barrels and things like that. We are hoping to do a bit more filming of practical shotgun competitions in the future, so stay tuned to see some of that, hopefully. And we are planning on trying to get involved with some 3-gun or similar competitions as well, so stay tuned to see that. Just keep checking. I'm not going to have to do anything with the fore end. This on the side, you might ask, what's that for? Well, I won't do it with any live cartridges, but that's a snap cap, so that will hold what they call a stage saver. So the idea is, if you run out of shots and you've got one target left, it's easily to grab that round, feed it into the gun, and it could save the stage for you. It was a bit of a pain to fit, to be honest, and I didn't really want to drill my gun, but I thought I'll have to really. But it did come in handy yesterday, especially on a man v man competition, so it was quite handy to have. Okay, before we reassemble the firearm, well, shotgun, UK law of firearm, you'll see this is a painted bolt. You'll see where it's coming into contact with the action itself. There is some wear there where the paint's worn off. So what I like to do, I mean, there's different types of grease. This is a high temperature grease, same as what you would use on cars for wheel bearings and things like that. I like to use this because when it gets hot it's not going to melt. But of course, hoppies do some very good gun grease, so you could use that as well, really. But I like the red stuff because I can see it's there. So I'm not going to go mad with this. I'm just going to put a little bit on and just grease the bolt faces. Again, too much can have an adverse effect because stuff can stick to it, such as dust and debris, and then cause more wear. So just a light smearing of grease is all you need, in my opinion. You'll see there, again, where it's been in contact with something. I'm not going to put any near the bolt face, because obviously that being close to where the cartridge is fired, that's where you're going to have a lot of debris. So I'm just going to rely on the Legion spray as we put it back together, a quick squirt inside, and we'll give it a wipe off again. A little bit I've got left of my fingers, I'll just put it around there. It won't harm. Right, now we'll trigger mechanism. Don't need to do much with that. That is clean anyway. So to take that apart would just be pointless because it doesn't need to be taken apart. But all I'll do is maybe just give it a wipe, just round the bolt faces, etc., the striker face, etc. It's all working, and then maybe Just a little spray, leisure spray, just to, because it was raining yesterday, so corrosion protection really. Again, another wipe, and we know that's going to be alright. And I'll give that a wipe as well, the loading gate. So first things first, reverse order. Again, I'm going to give the gun the outside, sorry, before I put the trigger mechanism back in. Just going to give the outside a clean on the slide. So, nice fresh kitchen paper. Give that a wipe down. See the black that's just come off it. So anything to do with gunpowder or propellant, as it's better known, nitro propellant, it is slightly corrosive. Not half as much as black powder is, but it's not something you want to leave on your firearm, especially if you like it and you want to keep it and you don't want it to look awful, pitted over time in use. So give it a wipe again. It doesn't matter if this goes on plastic, it makes no difference at all. As you'll see, that looks quite nice. Okay, now I'm going to put the trigger mechanism back in. Move these bits out of the way. Move all this crap to one side. So, trigger mechanism, all nice and clean. I'm going to put it back. So, there we go. That's back in. Not forgetting our pin. And what I will do with the pin again is just give it a wipe first of all, and I will add a little bit of grease, again a small amount, just on the face, on the pin itself. And the pin goes in the other way round. See a wider slot, so this is just falls straight in. There we go, that's back together. Next thing, we've got the spring. Now, although it was raining yesterday, that's not going to have any, well, there's no way any rain could get in that part of it. But everything else has been wiped, so why not give the spring a wipe as well? It's certainly not going to harm things. So again, bit of spray, don't need to go mad. Just put it on the spring, twist it through, as you'll see. I'm not going mad with it. Both ends. Right, okay, this is only a spring, doesn't matter which end, which way, this goes back in the gun. In here, sorry I didn't show you this bit, there is what they call a mag follower, and this is orange so it can be seen, because obviously with any shooting sport safety is paramount. The reason why they make them orange is because the referee in practical shooting will always make sure that your gun is clear, and this just allows him to see the magazine follower and know it's not a cartridge. So that's why they make them that colour. which I think is a really good idea. And I even have a spare one, which is handy. So why they give you a spare one, I don't know, but again, it's nice to have. So I'll give that a wipe, get rid of any fouling. You can also do is clean inside this tube, but again, it's not really dirty. So a bit of tissue inside it. See, there's hardly anything coming out of that. So what we'll do, just a bit of that down it, just to lubricate the inside and corrosion protection. Sorry, the magazine follower back in. What I like to do is make sure the spring is inside the magazine follower. Push it down. That's that bit in. In fact, I don't want to be putting the spring in yet. I'm getting carried away. What I need to do is put the barrel back on the gun. First of all, I'll connect the fore end to the barrel. In fact, what am I on about? I need to put the bolt back in first. Silly me. So the bolt, basically, you have to lift it up to make sure that the plunger rod, I will call it, for all want of a better word, falls down into the back of the stock, because again, this is where the spring is. This is what's this is the spring that pushes against the bolt when the bolt's fired, comes backwards. This is what cycles the gun. So we'll just drop that in there, which it is. Just push down and make sure that there is some resistance pushing that back. That's how you know it's connected to the spring. And then simply get your bolt handle. These have been adjusted before, made longer actually by Calibre Innovations, as well as the magazine port that has been chopped to allow quad loading. Just makes it much easier for quad loading and just to load the gun in general when you need to in a hurry in the practical competitions, because it is against the clock. So back to the bolt, we'll just pop that in like that, push it till you hear the click, and it's not coming out very easily. Pull the bolt back, it locks back. Okay, next thing what we'll do is have to attach the fore end to the barrel, and that just pushes into place under here, he says. No, what you actually do, you push against the spring, so it's spring loaded at the front, this fore end, so you push against it that way and then it just hooks under, and there we go, that's a barrel back together. And we'll insert this back in, just pushes in, dead simple. Again, it's a Benelli M2 clone, so I'm told. I've never actually taken apart a Benelli M2, but everything is very, very similar from what photographs I've seen. So I'm really pleased with it. Anyway, let's get it back together. So, magazine follower is already in the gun. I'll push the spring in, mag tube, and then that just screws on. There we go. Then vice versa, you put your magazine clamp, which clamps clamps the magazine tube to the barrel. I don't think it matters where it goes, really, to be honest. You can have it at the end, you can have it in the middle, it's just personal preference. Because it's definitely not going anywhere, but I think the idea of it is to prevent the magazine tube from unscrewing on itself when you're firing the gun. To give you this tool, comes with the gun as well, to put it back together. Really wouldn't go mad with these, tightening them up. They only need to be nipped up, but again, you don't want them coming out, so make sure they are tight would be my advice. And of course, make sure you put it on the right way, or it won't work otherwise. There we go. Put that in. What I do is just nip them up hand tight, really. Or finger tight. Till you see the thread popping out that side, and then don't go anymore, because these are aluminium and you easily strip the threads. Then we always do, we know the weapon is clear, say weapon, gun I should say, it's not a weapon, definitely not a weapon. We make sure it's cycling like that, and then I'll just dry fire it. We know it's working. The bolt hole's open, and that's it, we're nice and clean, ready for the next outing of practical shotgunning. Thank you for watching. If you like it, please subscribe and give us a like. Thank you.